of the next generation, if you will, coming up. Kicking off with Kyle Smith on the prelims against Eduardo Vera Sanchez, an unbeaten fighter from Mexico. Then it is the Olympian Kurt Walker in there with Yair Morales of Mexico, and then undefeated Ben Marksby in there against a tough Argentinian. So much to come on the prelims, and then we've got a cracking card live on DAZN from 7 p.m, which is of course topped off by Mick Conlan, and we very much look forward to that indeed. But our MC is
ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the ring Eduardo Vera Sanchez.
Well, here comes Eduardo Vera Sanchez, 24 years old, from Mexico. Your classic away corner gatekeeper. Kicked off his career on that small hall, rugged Mexico scene, but his last few fights have been in this part of the world.
And his opponent, Kyle Smith.
And incoming is 20-year-old Kyle Smith from Glengormley in Northern Ireland, just 10 or 15 minutes from where we are in this fantastic arena this evening. He made his debut on the undercard of that fantastic Lewis Crocker versus Paddy Donovan night. 3-0 so far. One of those was a first round demolition job, and the other two, he didn't drop a single round. And Barry, these are the type of nights which are the kind of apprenticeship nights for these young fighters, aren't they? Especially for somebody so young.
Yeah, and someone so talented. Let's not forget that. He's a real talented fighter, Kyle Smith. So it's about keeping them busy, putting them on big occasions so they feel that big fight feel. They understand what it's like, how they got to prepare yourself. And just, you've got to just try and, what you're doing in the gym, try and replicate that in the ring. Because when the levels step up, you've got to get it right.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome to the SSE Arena here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. MF Pro presents a night of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. Sponsored by Rainbet and Oosh. We begin the evening 4 rounds in the super welterweight division. The referee in charge when the bell sounds is Hugh Russell Jr. Introducing to you first, fighting to my left out of the red corner, he comes in wearing the white trunks, official weight 155.8 pounds. He is a veteran of 21 professional bouts, hailing from Querétaro, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Eduardo Vera Sanchez. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. He comes in wearing the black trunks trimmed with the white. Official weight, 156.1 pounds. As a professional, he's undefeated, 3 wins, one of those coming by way of knockouts. Hailing from Glengormley, Northern Ireland. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Kyle Smith.
Well, here we go then, the first bout of the evening in this stacked card here at the SSE Arena in Belfast. Eduardo Vera Sanchez of Mexico boxing out of the red corner in those white and gold shorts against the undefeated 3-0 Kyle Smith from Glengormley in Northern Ireland, who's straight out on that front foot in the orthodox stance and getting that jab popping straight away both to the body and upstairs to the head. Yeah,
a good positive start here from Smith, centre of the ring. Shows you want to do. You have always on the biggest part of the ring behind you, gives you so many options and puts your opponent under pressure. And using that nice long jab very effectively so far, nice and early.
That's what it's all about. Eduardo Sanchez is, yes, he comes with a losing record, 17 defeats on it, but nobody has managed to get him out of there in those 17 defeats which he's got. And these are the type of opponents which the likes of Kyle Smith is going to learn lots from, as he just corners the Mexican in the corner to our left-hand side on the commentary position. And the Mexican comes back with a good 1-2 of his own, but good footwork there from Smith, who's got good rapid hand speed, and he's nice and busy with that lead hand, Barry.
Yeah, and because he's so long, good body shot there from Smith. And because he's so long, Smith, he can afford to throw that right hand to the body from range, which is always a dangerous shot to do mostly because you're exposing that chin. Because he is so tall and has that reach advantage, you can get away with it. Nice wide stance as well there from Smith. The front foot's go maybe too far inside the stance there of Sanchez, but still, again, because he has that advantage of that reach and height, he can get away with it at the minute. But a good positive start here for Smith.
Sanchez, extremely experienced, knows exactly what he's doing, knows every single trick in the book, and he might look like, yes, he's standing in the corner there, but he knows what he's doing while he's there, and he'll get out of there when he needs to, and that's good reflexes there from the Mexican, who's quite confident, and you can tell that with his hands relatively low. But Smith, an experienced amateur, and somebody who a lot of the fighters from this part of the world speak very highly of. Fergal McCrory, who was a gym mate of his when he was just a junior many years ago, said to me that when he saw him for the first time, he knew he'd be destined for good things, as he just lunges in and goes for a left hook to the body to Sanchez there. He just wraps him up, and he'll do plenty more of that when he gets the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a test of patience here for Smith, for sure. Just not rushing his work. Trying to break him down, but that's intelligent work. Just take your time. Try and draw Sanchez out of that little defensive crouch that he has. But the jab will do that. And he wants you to get close so you can hold on and mess you up and make you uncomfortable. So keep it long, keep it sharp. Just try, and then you're not jumping into the left hook. Get the variety, but everything behind that long left hand. That's paramount for him.
It's good work there from Smith in that red corner, just putting the pressure on ever so slightly, upping the pace as every second goes past in the opening round. This one's scheduled for 4 in the super welterweight division, but so far so good, Barry. He's doing all the right things at the right times, in my opinion.
Free range to do what he wanted to do, but he was nice controlled, and nice sensible work. The only mistake he made was jumping into the left hook, and he didn't quite get clipped, but he was a little bit untidy. But apart from that, he kept nice and long, wide stance. He is stepping that front foot into the middle at times, and sometimes that's uncomfortable, but apart from that, it's a really good first round, I think.
So far, so good for Smith, but coming up on the global home of boxing, it is a bit of a middleweight weekend. Carlos Adames versus Austin Amo Williams across the pond. The WBC middleweight championship of the world tomorrow night. A great fight, so many great nights coming up here live on DAZN. We are absolutely spoiled, that is for sure. But let's see what Kyle Smith can do in this second round. I'm sure he's had some clear and concise instructions in that corner there, as he comes out nice and confident, bouncing on those toes, straight out into the centre of the ring and pushing forward on that front foot as he just jabs to the body there.
Well, these are the sort of fights that you can try things out without being too risky and being stupid, not switching off. You can practice stuff that you do in the gym and learn. And we said this before the fight started. These are the fights where you try and replicate what you do in the gym, put into a live fight experience that gives you that confidence to do it at a higher level when fights mean a little bit more. But certainly you have to show discipline, maturity in your work. And the only thing that Smith's doing that I'm not a fan of is, again, you can have success with stepping that left foot in the middle of the stance against the southpaw. It's not imperative that you do get on the outside, but on the outside gives you so much more options. That's what I would say.
Let's see if Smith can get that orthodox elite foot on the outside of the southpaw stance of the Mexican Eduardo Vera Sanchez. You can tell knows his way around there. He really does. He's extremely calm, isn't he, Barry? Very relaxed. He's very comfortable in there this evening.
Well, as long as the pace is right hand there from Smith, lovely shot. I've stunned him a bit there, Sanchez.
He did. He certainly caught him there with that right hand. It was nice and crisp, straight down the middle. And he just kind of had to remember where his feet was just for a second. He's just feeding them out again as he gets himself out of that danger zone on the ropes. But it does seem to be a place which he's quite comfortable within as Smith comes forward with a nice textbook 1-2. And there's another.
Well, as long as Sanchez can see the punches coming, he can brace himself, half block it, half slip a shot, and again lean on, use those ropes to take a bit of sting out of the punches. So what Smith needs to do is just change the pace of his punches every now and again to make it harder to read. With flurry sometimes and finish with a hard shot. Double up with the backhand, I would say that right hand. I think that's always a successful move against a southpaw fighter. If you land with that right hand, throw it again immediately. They don't expect that shot. And it's a direct line as well. You've already forged the path with the first shot.
And I tell you, one of the observations which I've made so far, Barry, with Sanchez is although you can tell that he's pretty skilled, some of those shots come out in quite an unorthodox fashion, don't they? They're, occasionally a bit wild, and they're quite hard to read at times, aren't they? Especially as a young, talented amateur who's just making his way in the pro game. You're used to that nice, tight stance and those textbook 1s and 2s and shots which you can almost read.
Yeah, you are, but that's why it's important. If you keep your hands high, your elbows tucked in tight, and you can afford, because he has that, because he is such an advantage of height and reach, you can afford to drop his hands a little bit here, Smith. But the fact that if your hands are high, your elbows are tucked in tight, those wide punches will hit the gloves and the arms anyway, so it's almost irrelevant with those shots.
Well, Smith hasn't really left from being on the corner on those ropes. That's kind of where this fight has taken place, with Sanchez on the back foot and defending well actually on the back foot, and Smith he's done a good job so far. I'm sure it will be kind of a bit more of the same from the corner in terms of instructions.
I would probably say that maybe they say to him, like that's 2 rounds in the bag, like a 4-round fight. The fight is pretty much won. So don't make silly mistakes. Be a little bit more adventurous. So change the pace of the work. Maybe throw in combinations, straight punches down the line. I would say in combinations a little bit. And what I would do is throw a 1-2 and then take a step and go again. Take a step to the side and then repeat the same 1-2.
Do you think it's those second phase attacks which is going to get him that success?
I think. Maybe he doesn't get the stoppage, but he makes it uncomfortable for Sanchez. And you want Sanchez to fire back, because then when he fires back, bigger gaps appear. And I think that would be probably the way to go for Smith. But I think it's been a nice controlled display from Smith. He knows who he's in against. A guy who's very hard to break down and beat, so he's taking his time and being sensible. And dominating, let's not forget that.
Well, this one is the penultimate round then. Round 3 of 4. Speaking to Smith's manager Mark Dunlop earlier on in the arena, and he's extremely excited about this young man. He's already headlined in his second fight in a kind of very small hall kind of setting. Very popular guy, sold loads and loads of tickets this evening, and that has been the case in all 3 of his fights so far. And that was a good jab from Smith, just another fire deep attack from the Mexican, who just tried to take a bit of a leap forward in that southpaw stance, but he was stopped in his tracks. Yeah,
good focus there from Smith, because as soon as Sanchez tried to be adventurous, tried to have a little bit of success, he clipped him with the left hand, and that's good. But sometimes when you're having so much success and nothing's coming back, you can switch off defensively, and he hasn't.
And we do see that sometimes that complacency can be an absolute killer, can't it? And you see fighters switch off.
Especially because it's almost not a complacency at times, because you're having so much success, and you just think you're thinking offensively, right? That's just thinking, what should I throw next? What should I throw next? You'll just try and break him down, and then you forget what's coming back now and again. So it can happen, but you always got to have a little bit of your mind. You focus on what you're doing, but a little bit of that focus got to be what might come back.
Well, forget how many empty seats are in here at the moment. This place will be absolutely rocking later on when Mick Conlan walks out in his bid to potentially one day go for another world title shot, a third world title shot. This is all about stories right now. Early on in the card, the opening fight of the night here in Belfast.
Switch southpaw here, Smith. Trying to change it up a little bit. Full of confidence, and rightly so.
He's just showing what he's got in his arsenal, isn't he, really? If he can box as well in that southpaw stance as he does in the orthodox stance, it'll be another chink in his armour.
A little feint there from Smith, put it in his hands, go, good shot.
It's good as he switches back to that orthodox stance, lands a nice flush right hand through the middle of the garden. Some of the supporters inside the arena enjoyed that one.
Makes it hard, doesn't he, Sanchez? He not only sits on that back foot, he stands, he squats really low. It's very hard to get the accuracy when you're punching down. Good shot, so when we were doubling up with that right hand, he threw a lovely shot there, Smith. There was another one for him to let go.
Nice and relaxed is Smith with that left hand low as we go into the last few seconds of the third round, and over again he's popping that jab out. But Sanchez, Barry, is extremely well scored, especially defensively. It's quite hard to look good against, isn't it?
He is, because he's very negative, and he sits on that back foot and gets it, like I say, gets himself really low, which makes it hard for you to hit him clean, so he makes it uncomfortable.
Well, this is what's happening now, but this is what's coming up tomorrow. Liddard versus Denny. Can Liddard beat a former European champion in Denny live at the Copper Box tomorrow? We said it was a middleweight weekend. That one is in the middleweight division yet again. So many good fights up and coming, and the schedule is absolutely ridiculous, to be quite frank. You know, right, Barry?
Oh, it's every weekend, isn't it? Twice this weekend for us. I'm straight off the plane tomorrow morning, straight over to the Copper Box. But, it's a good show tomorrow. It's a really good show. There's the three fights there, the main build, the co-main event, and the one below it. They're all real tests for the inside. They really are.
There's some proper matchups. So here we go. In this one, in this matchup, fight number 4 for Kyle Smith. Round number 4 in this contest, as he starts this round in exactly the same way which he started the previous ones, which is confidently straight out in that orthodox stance, getting that jab nice and active. He's authoritative with it.
He's taken one punch, and that was a cuffing shot at best, so you know it's always a good night's work when that happens for any boxer at any level. He boxed well. I've enjoyed him. I mean, good variety in his work at times, you know, but he's keeping to the basics really well, so no one's sticking to what's working for him. He shows some good patience, and he's a real tricky opponent. And if Sanchez comes out of the shell a little bit, we might see the better of Smith.
I think if we had a few more rounds, we might have seen a little bit of that, but as this is a 4-rounder, I think what we've seen is what we will get, as both fighters just kind of nice and lightly tiptoe around the centre of the ring there. Smith has most certainly been the fighter on that front foot, actively pursuing the attacks over and over again. And he's just touching him upstairs. It's almost a bit like kind of that Josh Taylor jab, and then something else will follow afterwards.
Well, he just wants Sanchez to come out, doesn't he, on the shell, you know, just try and bite off that. And fire back so we can throw that right hand on the pipe there, Smith.
Good boxing here from Smith.
Another thing why I think he takes the foot on the outside, because it gets him a little bit closer. But when you step on the outside, you do go forward a little bit with that shot, so when he throws that right hand, he punches with the back of the head.
Yeah. Good stabs to the body there from Smith. And you're right, Barry, in what you said earlier on. Sanchez, he is negative, but he's kind of got a good way of doing it. He's not kind of like running away, is he? He just kind of boxes quite comfortably on that back foot because he does it well.
Yeah, and he's waiting for you. No, he gives the impression he's set a trap. So you're not. You see, Smith's not willing to let his hands go because he's thinking something's going to come back here. He's trying to set me up for something. So you have to be a little bit cautious when you are coming forward. But I always say that, especially when you're the tall, longer fighter, just throw nice and long down the line, nice and straight. It's the quickest to the target. You've got the reach advantage there, so maybe see what's coming back little bit more gap, more space and gap to make him miss. Clash of heads there, I think.
Definitely a clash of heads as Sanchez kind of gives him a bit of a nod and rubs his head. I'm sure that's a little bit sore, but this is Kyle Smith's first fight in there against a southpaw. There's a first time for everything in the professional game. I'm sure he would have boxed many a southpaw in the amateur side of things.
No, if he feints here now, Smith, he's not going to fire back, Sanchez, but it'll give him an opportunity. Smith, he can feint, take that step and then throw that right hand.
A good performance there from Kyle Smith. I'm sure the friends and family and loved ones enjoyed that. He did plenty well, but like Barry said, there wasn't lots coming back, was there? But the things which he needed to do, he did.
But he can't do nothing about that. All he can do is try and put pressure on the guy. I mean, unless you wanted to go swinging like a lunatic and take a risk of getting caught, he's too much of a clever boxer to do that. So he got the rounds under his belt. You know, I mean, I thought it was a good display. You know, nothing came back from Sanchez, but Smith, that's out of Smith's control. Smith tried to get him to coax him out of his shell a little bit. He wasn't biting. He landed some good shots. He never got caught with a punch all night. And that, you know, in boxing terms, is a very, very successful night.
A successful night indeed. Well, we expect Kyle Smith to go to 4-0. Our MC Ray Flores has the official card, so we shall head over to him now. Over to our MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we go to the score total 40-36. All for your winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated, Kyle Smith.
Well, congratulations to Kyle Smith. Won every single round, as expected, Barry.
Yeah, he boxed well. We've seen him before, so we know he's a talent. He has lovely skills, a good boxing brain. He showed a bit of patience there tonight. I think it's a guy who's trying to make it frustrating. And we'll see him in better fights. He's still at the learning phase. Let's give him a little bit of leeway that way. But once he starts getting close to double figures, I think we're going to see the best in him. I think he's a real talent.
And I think that's really important, actually, because we said at the start about this being the apprenticeship stage for these fighters. When you look back at some of these cards with these young up-and-coming fighters, and only a few years later are they headlining their own events. I mean, Pierce O'Leary was boxed here a couple of years ago on the undercard of Conor Quinn versus Conor Kelson, and look what we were experiencing and witnessed last week.
Exactly, it goes very, very quick. And he's 20 years of age. You've got loads of time to work on him, to form him, to mould him into a better, more experienced fighter. But what he has is natural talent, and with that, you can do a lot with.
We're ready for our next fight, so we're over to our MC, Ray Flores.
Here is Zaire Alexander and Tyson Morales.
Well, incoming is Yair Morales, 20 years old, from the fighting city of Guadalajara in Mexico. As all Mexicans do, he's been boxing as a professional since a tender age of 16 years old.
And his opponent, Kurt Walker.
And incoming is Olympian Kurt Walker, 31 years old now, from Lisbon in Northern Ireland. He's been out of the ring for 10 months. The last time we saw him was when he put in an honourable performance against Liam Davies, but lost out on a point decision. It's good to see him back.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, ML Pro presents our next matchup of the evening. 4 rounds in the lightweight division. With the belt size, the referee in charge is Mr. Dominic Conlan. Introducing to you first, fighting to my left out of the red corner. He comes in wearing the red and the burgundy with the white. Official weight, 133.7 pounds. He is a veteran of 32 fights. Joining us from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Yair Alexander and Tyson Morales. And across the ring, his adversary fighting out of the blue corner. He comes in wearing the green and the black, weighing in officially at 136.9 pounds. As a professional, he is perfect. 12 bouts, 12 victories. 2 of those coming by way of knockouts. From Belfast, Northern Ireland, ladies and gentlemen, here is the undefeated Kurt Walker.
Go, Kurt.
Well, here we go then, bout number 2 of the evening. This one, 4 3-minute rounds in the lightweight division. Yair Morales of Mexico in those red shorts. In against Kurt Walker, back after 10 months. Like we said in his ring walk, his first fight for 10 months. Last time we saw him, he put in a very solid performance in against Liam Davies, who, Barry, is a world-class fighter, so no shame to lose into a fighter like that.
No, and that was his first 12th rounder as well, so it was a bit of an acid test there for Walker, but yeah, he had a really good go, and I mean, again, he's a lovely talent, Walker, loads of real natural ability. I mean, there's always going to be a question about the strength, not so much the power for me, it's the physical strength, but his ability, his boxing brain is fantastic.
This is good work so far in the opening round for Kurt Walker, who's nice and confident on that front foot there, whipping in those jabs and turning them into nice sharp left hooks at the same time. And Yair Morales is a game opponent, we've seen him before, he will keep coming, he'll bite down on that gum shield and he'll stick his chin into his chest, and he'll certainly have a bit of a go.
Yeah, but that'll suit Walker. But this is not going to be a fight where fatigue plays his part, of course, in a 4-rounder. So he's going to want Morales to come on to him so he can pick him off his shots. The good thing about Walker, when he retreats, there's small steps back, which gives him the opportunity to throw as you're advancing, rather than take a big leap back and have to sort of reset himself. Good shot.
Beautiful body work there from Walker. That right uppercut up the middle at the guard, and then just turned it into that left hook into the body. There he goes again under the right elbow of the Mexican. It's a favourite shot of his, and he's really starting to put these shots together nicely, both upstairs and downstairs, really changing up the rhythm as well, making himself hard to read.
Yeah, he's picking his shots really well here, Walker. Good shots. Again, he got a tight defensive. He's trying to he's changing the variety in his work, just trying to open up that tight guard there to Morales. That's that uppercut, little screw shot now and again, that body shot on the hook, just trying to lower that right arm with that left hook to the body. Again, he's a very cerebral fighter, isn't he, Walker? Thinking all the time.
It does, it looks like he's thinking, but he flows so fluently, does it, so naturally, that sometimes it doesn't even seem like he is thinking because of the way that he just puts his shots together. And he's got to be quite a hard fighter to read, and I think Morales in the opening round is already working that bit out. Nice 1-2, straight down the middle. It was blocked, but they were solid. We can hear them thudding from our commentary position.
Good work there.
Good body puncher, isn't he?
Good.
There goes Walker once again with that solid 1-2 of his, which Morales, in fairness to him, is defending well, but eventually it will get through. But a good round for Walker. He looks really happy. He looks comfortable. He doesn't look like he's worried in any way, shape or form.
Well, this is a maritime fight for him, isn't it? Clearly, so he's treating it like that, but a nice positive start there, picking his shots really well and looks strong. Like I said about strength, he looked really strong there in that first round.
Well, talking of strong, next weekend in Manchester, Moses and Salma, the future, or the potential future of the heavyweight division, and the Co-op Live in Manchester takes on Jermaine Franklin. My goodness, all we've heard about is when will Moses and Salma get some rounds? Will this be the man, Barry, to give him some rounds?
Well, on paper, this is the fight, isn't it? We wanted to see what it's like when he hits a guy and he doesn't go anywhere, but I mean, what Franklin's not going to be used to is the the movement of Atama. It's not the power. The people want more power. He has power. It's not even the speed. It's the angle of the shot. That's what sets him apart. He moves his feet around that semicircle around the body like no other current heavyweight. Even Usyk, I mean, he's not as good as Usyk in my mind, but I mean, the way he moves on that target, so positively, that semicircle on the front of the body, is like a middleweight. Or like it's not like a welterweight, the way he moves around that body.
He's incredibly agile. Is Atama?
I could have said that, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem.
I'll write that word down.
Yeah, you go for it, Barry. Well, here we go then. Kurt Walker straight back out on that front foot in the centre of the ring, showing his man who's in charge.
Oh, good shot again there from Walker. It's a lovely shot.
And another away corner fighter this evening, who hasn't been dismissed before the sound of the opening bell. So another tough cookie. But it's exactly the type of opponent who Walker will want. He won't want someone who he could get into the ring with Barry and just wipe them out in a couple of rounds, will he? No, I'm sure he wouldn't mind it, but
the thing is, once you box for a title, win or lose, you want to stay in that title contention continuously. So you need a win just to get back. And then you want to fight for titles after this, for sure. Doing a 4 round is not ideal, but getting on the bill and being active is imperative. So if that's all they're going to give you, you'll take it with open hands. He's boxing well here, Walker, picking his shots.
Going to the body well as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and I don't think that's going to have a 4 round unless you hit him with a shot that drops him. That's not going to have an effect. I mean, to see the variety of his work, the thought, and I think he's sitting down on his punches a little bit here, Walker. We know he got a good boxing, but we know he has natural ability, the way he flows into his work. You see it there, that loading up, just turning the body, using all the muscles in the back of your body. See, so when you turn from the hips and the waist, you get those muscles into play. You don't have to load up.
It's always interesting to see how these very good amateurs get on in the program. And look, this is fight number 14 for Kurt Walker, but he was an outstanding, exemplary amateur. Boxing the Commonwealth Games, he was an Olympian, and he seems to have made that move to the pro game really nicely. So I love the way that he just stands there toe to toe. I know it's kind of a different type of opponent with all the respect in the world, but it's allowing him to do the kind of work that he wouldn't get to do in there with like a Liam Davis, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because Morales is pushing his punches, so they're really readable. But you've got to have the vision that Walker has to see that at close range, and he has been able to just hold his feet and just roll those shoulders and slip that head over and come back with his own little fantastic little counter. Certainly that right uppercut when he threw one recently. This one again there, but put a bit of weight on the one just before that.
And what he just did then, Walker, looks so much easier than it is. The way that he just slipped and rolled under a couple of those hooks and come back with a counter right hand with that uppercut.
And a good pace as well here from Walker.
Yeah, it's a good pace, isn't it? He's got some good tempo to that. I mean,
that's the word, yeah, that's the word, tempo.
4 rounds, but he can afford to do that, can't he? Like you said, the last fight he had was a 12-rounder, completely different ball game this time.
It's funny because, like in any fight, unless you're a massive KO artist and you think I can wear the guy down and lose rounds, and make him work hard and try and get him late, you've got to try and win every round. I mean, it's quite simple in many ways. Not to do it, but the thought process. Just win the next round. But you still have to keep something in reserve. Because if you bust the guts, in a 12-round fight, you're worried about what's going to happen on the stretch. But in a 4-round fight, you can put your foot on the pedal. And he's done that. I mean, he's not loading up, so he's got plenty of energy, Walker, but he's kept it very, very active. And he's put Morales under pressure from the first second in the first round.
Completely agreeing with you, Barry, and looking at the kind of body language and some of the things which Kurt Walker said this week on this fight week here in Belfast. He said obviously he wants to be back in those big fights like he had last time, and he knows exactly what this is, and a win isn't good enough. He wants to look good in the process, and so far he's doing exactly that. And he has to look good in the process if he wants another one of those big fights, doesn't he?
I mean, it shouldn't be the case. Just winning should get you there. But I mean, we're in more of a sellable industry than ever before, so he has to, commercial industry I should say, than ever before, so he has to sell himself. And the promoter sat in front of him, he's got to try and give him something to go, yeah, let's get him on the main card, let's get him up against something else, so let's rebuild this kid. And we've got a lot to work with here, so I think it's not a problem.
Can he catch the eye of all the right people? A couple of those sitting ringside in the Salmon Brothers. Of course, they'll be sat there for the duration of the evening with tonight's headliner, Conlan versus Walsh. Well, this place will be electric later on. That was a good 1-2. Straight down the middle from Walker. Kind of inviting Morales in with that jab or that double jab, and then he just kind of feeds off it and lets his hands go straight after.
There's an argument that he's done too much work and he's kept Morales in a defensive mode. I think that's sort of stupid in itself.
I know what you're saying.
You haven't coaxed him out of his shell. The only thing you could do different here, I mean, to make it a little bit easier, is, I mentioned that semicircle that most of the time he uses on the body. Do that. So you plant your front foot on the balls of your front foot, and then when you throw the shots there, you just pivot on the side.
Well,
my favourite fighter, Bam Rodriguez, does it better than anybody in boxing.
Class, it is. It makes it look so effortless as well.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of energy. But I mean, someone like Walker in a fight like this could do that quite easily. And just give a different angle of attack. But what he's doing is fine. It's absolutely fantastic. But to try and break the guy like Morales down, obviously he's team tough and just to see the shots enough, not to evade them, but to just tense up and just soak them up.
I'll tell you what, Barry, I think the right-hand side of Morales tomorrow morning is going to be a little bit sore because he must have landed about 25 lead hooks to the body just in this round, and he's really starting to let his hands go now, is Walker. And if he can get Morales out of here, he will be the first person to have done so in the professional game, and that will be a bit of an achievement in itself as he just leans in and bites down on his gum shield and digs his toes into the canvas and lets his hands go bit by bit as we get into the last few seconds of the round. But I would guess that Morales is going to hear the sound of the final bell. Nicely done by Walker. Well, I'm sure there's always going to be one or two things which the corner team will be pleased with and things that they won't. What would you be saying in that corner?
Oh, that was good. I'll tell you what, first of all, I think Walker would have enjoyed that because he's been able to be a bit of a bully here tonight. It's probably a thing he's not used to doing because he's such a good boxer. He's pushing him back, he's getting a little bit physical with it. He's rolling underneath the shots and firing back. And I had a couple of fights like that. I was not a boxer, and I had a couple of fights like that. And you enjoy them more than actually doing what you were good at because it's like, I'm playing a different role here and I usually can't get away with it. And he's boxed really well. Again, the only thing I would say was just maybe when you've landed with a couple of shots, you're rolling, but just roll, slide the foot across, and then come back from a different angle. That's all really. But apart from that, he's set a really good, solid pace to get the work out. He's landed with some fantastic shots. If Morales takes them, then you can't do nothing about that. All you can do is do the work. And he's done the work fantastically so far. I mean, that last round, he landed with two really, really meaty left hooks, Walker. Morales soaked them out quite comfortable, but they were lovely shots.
Nice, vicious left hook there from Walker. Really putting some oomph and effort into every single one of those punches, enjoying himself as he puts those shots together in the centre of the ring. And there's that left hook to the body again, over and over. He lands perfectly under the right elbow of the Mexican. You can start to see a little bit of the reddening there, and it goes upstairs as well. And that is nice work, Barry, because the way he switches those levels up is brilliant.
See, working up the ladder is always a thing that I'm really impressed with. If you dip your legs and you can get away with throwing body shots from the offset, which is very hard to do, but you've got to work up the ladder. And he did it so well there, Walker. Start with the two left hooks to the body, uppercut, and then come back with a hook and a right hand to finish. Really good, solid combination.
Tell you what, you've got to tip your hat to Morales though, because the shots which are coming into him aren't pretty, but he still stands there, doesn't he? Yeah. Mexican style. I mean, you could say he's a bit foolish more than anything, but you'd rather he did that than be on the back foot.
Oh, of course you would, yeah. He obviously takes a good shot. I think, Walker's not a massive puncher, but there's speed in those shots, and he's thrown with more intent than he probably usually does, so you'll be feeling those punches for sure. But anyone like Morales, it's the surprise shot that's going to unravel him. So that's where you've got to try and get that different angle. But I mean, what he's doing here, Walker, is just fine. You know, it's a really high pace, not high pace, but a good pace he's set. And he's in charge of it, and in charge of every exchange.
Good feet there from Walker, who's been masterful with those feet this evening. Just kind of bouncing in when he wishes to, fighting both on the inside and then throwing those long shots from a distance which he wishes to throw them from, and there they are again. And then he bounces just out of range again. And the Mexican is really struggling to hit the target here. And that's not really necessarily anything he's doing wrong. It's kind of more all the things which Walker is doing right.
Yeah, he's in a lovely flow here, isn't he, Walker? Now, changed the tact a little bit more on the balls to his feet as we would have expected he would have been. And just nice and fluent with his work. A good display from Walker here tonight.
It's the last 30 now, Kurt. It's literally a 20 on 10 off.
Well, the Mexican just got through with a little shot to the temple of Walker. Doesn't faze him in the slightest. Walker continuously pounds in those shots to the body and those straight hands upstairs. Nice work as he rolls under the lead hook of the Mexicans. As we go into the last few seconds. Well, big smiles from both fighters. Morales lives to fight another day. Walker probably got exactly what he wanted out of that fight.
Yeah, he got to work up, but he got to work up. He was all self-inflicted and did all the work, didn't he? So, I mean, but it was good. I mean, he put some meat on the shots, which, you know, which is good to see. And that he has that little bit of intent in his work when he wants to. I mean, his shot selection was absolutely fantastic. Again, got a loss coming back, so he had the time to do that. But again,
free will, didn't he? Really?
Yeah, he did. But I mean, but still, it helps give you confidence to do it the next time you fight, because you've done it now in a live world, not just in the gym. Quite often, the things you do in the gym, you can't do them in a ring in a real fight when there's pressure on you. So now he's done it. I mean, and he did some really good work there. He worked the body fantastic. The uppercuts were superb, as was the left hook.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we go to the scorecards. The judge sees it the same, 40-36 for your winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated from Belfast, Northern Ireland, Kurt Walker!
Well done. Lewis. Hurry up, man.
Well done to Kurt Walker. Back to winning ways after 10 months out of the ring. The Conlan Boxing managed fighter will be pleased with that, I'm sure. And he'll be looking forward to what may be around the corner.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our next two fighters. Please welcome Carlos Daniel and Zorito Córdoba.
Well, here we go then, the final fight of the prelims. Carlos Daniel Córdoba of Argentina. Bit of a mixed record, but more wins on his record than there are defeats. He's beaten a few decent up-and-coming prospects in recent years. This is the first fight of his in this part of the world, so we'll see what he's all about when the opening bell sounds.
And his opponent, Ben Marksby.
Well, here comes Ben Marksby, 26 years old from Darlington. He says that this year he wants to be pushing on for a British title, which is currently vacant in the super lightweight division. This is most certainly a stepping stone towards that, but he has to look good tonight.
And now our next matchup, brought to you by NF Pro, is 8 rounds in the super lightweight division. The referee in charge for the Belfast is Eamon McGill. Introducing first, fighting to my left, up of the red corner. He comes in wearing the red trunks with the white trim. Official weight 140.4 pounds. His record 16 wins, 13 losses, 1 draw, 4 wins coming by way of knockouts. Coming to us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carlos Daniel Enzorito Cordova. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. He comes in wearing the brown trunks, weighing in officially at 141.8 pounds. As a professional, he's undefeated, 13 wins, no losses, 2 victories coming by way of KO. Joining us from Darlington, England, ladies and gentlemen, here is the perfect Ben Marksby.
But this is the tale of a tape for this one. A tough opponent for Marksby. And as we said in the ring walk, he really needs to look good in the process here. Winning won't be enough. He's got to look good while he's doing it. With this one scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds. Marksby 13-0 so far, is the man from Darlington. He was a very good amateur, represented Team England if you've not seen him before. On multiple occasions, very well schooled boxer, absolutely loves the game, loves being in there. He's constantly itching to get those gloves on, so we'll see what he's about this evening, the prep which he's been doing in the process, Barry.
Yeah, I think he's matured as a fighter, because when he first turned pro, he got fast hands, fast feet, but he was trying to be too fast, so he never really set himself. I know exactly, I did that my whole career, but I mean, you know, when you get up in the weights, it makes it more difficult for you to have any sort of effect. Fighters will walk through you. But in the last few fights, he's just starting to set his feet a little bit. He's still maintaining the speed, still got the boxing ability. He's not bouncing around as much, and he's literally not trying to be too fast and rushing his work and smothering his own work, which he was doing early in his career, even though he looked good. Now he's starting to look a little bit more, more of a force, I would say, stronger, more physical, and I think he's certainly matured.
And you can certainly see that he's sitting down and kind of digging his toes into the canvas a little bit more. Even just the way that he moves around the ring, he's just a bit heavier within his feet, which isn't affecting his mobility, but he does look like he's starting to sink the shots a bit more from recent fights anyway. Yeah,
it's important not to lose what's made you who you are. That's the first and foremost, but I think, you know, he has natural speed. We have natural speed. You don't have to try and be fast. It's there already. You just have to be nice and relaxed and throw the punches smooth, don't load up. But he's a good boxer, and I've been impressed with him throughout his career so far, and certainly of late he's looked the best I've seen him, that's for sure.
Well, he looks confident in there this evening. Just a moment ago, a nice jab and slammed in a right uppercut to the body there. Carlos Daniel Cordova of Argentina. He's a tough man. And he's one of those ones that just seems to keep coming. He's got an indomitable spirit about him.
I think for Marksby, it's to do what he's doing now. You front foot pressure here. And then that little half step back there to do that, but maybe 2 steps too many there for Marksby. But that sort of idea. Pressure him that front foot and then pepper him with shots, and then when he comes forward as he's going to, Cordova, then you fire back.
Marksby looking for that left hook there, but Cordova had that right arm right in the right place at the right time there. Nice footwork here from Marksby, who just kind of very fluently just bounces back there and gets himself out of range with his feet. But I guess, Barry, where the success will come is if he can make his man miss and capitalise on it at the right time.
It's going to be hard, you know, because it's a southpaw, you know, when you want everything to work off that jab, it's a little bit harder to get real momentum with the jab against a southpaw. But you know, if you get your foot in the right place and you sort of commit to that shot, don't half throw it, then you can do that. And certainly, again, you want to walk him onto that right hand.
Well, assuming that Marksby does well tonight, which is exactly what the game plan is with him and his corner team. There's some good fights in that super lightweight division. Mark Chamberlain Luke McCormack, Jack Rafferty, just to name a few.
Good
It's a great division, isn't it? Domestically, it's a fantastic division.
Just beyond it right now, we've seen a good performance last weekend. I think it's another one, Pierce O'Leary.
The future is most certainly bright in and around that weight category.
Of course, Adam Nazim and Dalton Smith are way above, but Dalton Smith, the world champion. But I mean, it's in the UK and Ireland, if you combine that at the minute, because we had in Ireland, then it's a fantastic division. It really is full of talent.
Marksby out on the front foot there, being a little bit naughty, stepping on the Southport front foot of Cordoba rather than getting his foot on the other side of it. I'd like to see a bit more come back from the Argentinian, to be honest, Barry. At the moment, he's being kind of negative in a bit of the wrong way, which is making it a bit of a challenging fight, not only to box, but almost to watch as well.
Getting caught with shots like that's going to put you in a defensive mode automatically, because you know. See, once a fighter's once you've made someone make a mistake and made them pay for it, which Mark has already done, not with dramatic shots, but just with good technique, then that puts that fighter, it puts an extra thought in his brain, which slows him down and makes him second guess his work. So you either do that.
Lovely duck there from Marksby. The timing was perfect. He kind of had a look and then just threw that left hook. And Cordoba found himself on the canvas, and he looks like he's ready to go as he just acknowledges his corner there, and Marksby needs to jump on him. And that's exactly what he's doing as he throws that left hook in to the body.
Just got to get the angle different, a little different angle there when he's got him close here, Marksby, just to open up that body with that uppercut.
And this is exactly what you were talking about, Barry, about sitting down on those shots a bit more, and the Argentinian looks like he's in a touch of trouble now. And this is where the clock becomes almost a second opponent because there's 1 minute and 15 seconds to go.
See, that's a long time to be under pressure, that is, but for Marksby, he has got a bit of time. You don't want to let him off the hook, but also you don't want to be busting the gut and running out of steam here, trying too hard and forcing it. It's good work, nice and smooth there from Marksby. And of course, you want to hit the body again, but you don't want to telegraph that shot. You're trying to work the head here just to get those elbows a little bit higher again. But again, it was what we said at the start of the first round, wasn't it? Like, that you walk him onto a shot.
Well, Cordoba looks like he has weathered this storm this time round with still a decent amount of time to go in the round, as you can see there. But that's almost quite mature from Marksby, isn't it? Rather than a silly thing to do. He did have a go afterwards, but now he's back in a kind of strong stance of his picking his shots and not getting carried away.
It's been a good start here for Marksby.
Oh, lovely right hand to the body there, touched him upstairs and then sunk that right hook in under the left elbow. And there's another left hook. That seems to be
left hook.
A favourite of his.
Body and head there, and that headshot really shook up Cordoba there.
He's really starting to feel this now.
He didn't drop him, but it looked like he felt that.
Cordoba, his face had a mask on, but his body was telling us everything which we needed to know, wasn't it?
You can't sit down yet. That's the sign that you really hurt when you can't sit down with a body shot. I mean, that was lovely work there from Mark, it really was. So looking at that, the first uppercut right through the middle, when he gets hit with the body with the shot to the chin, with the run to the body, did all that damage, just caught him square footed. Again, made him work, took that little step back and as Cordoba come forward, squared his feet up, opened up that body there for that uppercut through the middle to land. And then just before the end of the round there, on the ropes, right next to us, hit him with a double left hook, left the head, left hook to the body, and dipped the legs there to Cordoba.
It's the left hook which is working wonders for Marksby, isn't it? And he doubles it up and then brings his hands up and then he chucks it under the elbow.
But speed is his friend here, and he's not trying to load up, and he's not trying to throw too fast, and he's not loading up. It's natural, smooth speed, and and the rhythm of that is hard to read for a guy who maybe doesn't have the intelligence of a Marksby.
I like that, Barry. Natural, smooth speed.
I mean,
you could do adverts, you could.
I could do, yeah. I should do. For regain the hair stuff.
Well, here comes Marksby again.
Basketball hoops.
Say no more. Good timing there from Marksby, nice and patient. But I reckon has had a bit of a word in that corner there, because he actually threw something with a bit of intent for the first time in the fight.
Good right hand there for Marksby. Sorry, good right hand for Marksby there. He just squared his feet up there, Cordoba, and he jumped on him there, Marksby. Again, showing that vision, that intelligence. He sees a little half mistake and uses that natural speed of hand and foot just to get close and let that shot go. I mean, like I said, his last few fights I've been really impressed. And he's shown that maturity. He's never going to be a KO artist, but I mean, his strength has been massively increased with age and maturity, and not rushing his work has given more power.
Marksby going for that right hand side of the body again, over and over again, as he lets his man commit, makes him miss, but doesn't capitalise on it this time round. Just taking his time as he just feints with that jab there. Something big will follow in just a moment, mark my words.
Just getting that distance right as well, isn't he, Max? He's stepping back, but not too far. Cordoba's going to miss, and he's always in range to fire back.
This is good to see some form of attack from the Argentinian, Carlos Cordoba. Giving Marksby something to think about here, other than just having it all his own way, which he has pretty much for the majority of his fight so far. Got a lovely right hand.
But also, I think Marksby will be happy. Cordoba, being more aggressive, that's going to give him more gaps. Shot. Overemphasised because he's throwing the shot there, Cordoba. It wasn't a powerful shot, but it was a lovely placed right hand there for Marksby. The distance control has been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's really won this fight, as you said, on his speed so far. Speed is his friend, but his feet are good as well. He makes him miss with his feet, and then he lands those attacks with those feet as well.
Yeah, so I'm saying the distance control, the judgment of the distance has just been spot on to make you miss and land clear shots.
A bit more of a positive round from the Argentinian, though. He hasn't been on the back foot as much as he was in the previous round, and it's nice to see him commit.
And you get that for a guy who's naturally tough. I think that when they have a bad round, they want to come back and show you something. He didn't get nowhere near winning the round, but yeah, he made it more competitive and put Marksby on the back foot a little bit, but still a good round there for Ben Marksby.
Well, when we talk about putting fighters on the back foot, and if you want fireworks, then put these two together. Wardley versus Dubois. There is no way on this earth, on the 9th of May, Barry, that this one goes all 12 rounds, does it? Not a chance. I
think it's going to be one for the purists, this one. It's a bang-up, isn't it? It really, I mean, if you half like boxing, if you just watch boxing where people getting punched in the head, I mean, this is the fight. There's not going to be technical breakdowns in this fight, though they are good boxers in their own right. But they're both power punchers. They're both going to want to batter each other, and that's going to make a real good, exciting spectacle. Fabio Wardley, he's like the heavyweight Nigel Benn. He really is.
He is. It's going to be fireworks at the very start. We cannot wait for that one. Another one live on the global home of boxing here on DAZN. As Marksby starts this round exactly the same way he started the previous. And Carlos Cordoba on that back foot, but I don't think he's quite got it defensively to be effective boxing on the ropes there, but he does commit there, Barry.
Yeah, and see, they look at Marksby's record and go, well, he might be a good boxer, but he can't punch, so I'm not worried about what's coming back. But again, I don't think he's ever going to be a KO artist, Marksby. But again, when he gets the distance right and gets that speed right, I think he can make you feel it. He can hurt you, and we see that. And certainly the body shots really squared him up.
Good timing there with that left hook from Marksby. Just kind of pivoted round to his right, let his man commit and hit him with that left hook. And like you said earlier, Barry, he's not doing bundles for his confidence, the Argentinian, but he does still try and slam in a few shots of his own there. Marksby just covers up and he'll take a little step back, reset, and he'll go again, and he'll get straight back to his boxing, which is exactly what he needs to do, in my opinion.
just got to be careful here, Max, of not. It's not coasting, but not having a plan, a long-term plan for the fight, because he's been winning every round. But I mean, for him now, he's got to start thinking, I've hurt this guy. How can I get back there? So like, do I start? Or do I work to what I wanted to the end result of trying to get a stoppage here, which is maybe capable of, but it's trying to get to that body. So you got to try and set him up for the body shot. Just a little trip there.
Bit of judo going on.
His
Barry.
leg there, I think, got over.
Well, it certainly wasn't a knockdown, and he smiles and cracks on with it.
So Max, we just got to try and have some sort of formula in his head how to break him down, rather than just going through your repertoire of skills and it working for you.
Oh, nice work there. Really kind of separated that jab and that straight right hand there, which both of them landed crisply. There's no point Cordoba looking at a referee. He's told you to get on with it.
Well, he's coming in low, Cordoba. He's complaining about Max pushing on the back of the head, but he's bringing that head down low.
Break that back! Break that back! Hey!
The referee will have a chat with him now. There's a bit of wrestling going on. Cordoba is best pleased with that, but he was in the wrong. One, he's quite frustrated. He needs to get on top of him, Barry.
He did it right in front of the referee. That's the worst thing. I mean, like, you can see it clearly.
Yeah, it wasn't like he grabbed hold of his arm on the kind of blind side of the ref, was it? Oh, lovely right uppercut at the end of the round. But look, his legs look like they belong to somebody else at the moment, and that shot couldn't have landed at a better time for the Argentinian. It was a sweet punch, wasn't it? And he's still unsteady, Barry.
He doesn't know where he is. That shot caught him left, right on the chin.
In the corner, just had a look to the referee to see if the referee was looking at him, but he wasn't, and that was a bit of a get out of jail free card.
The referee was watching him when he come back, though. That's for sure. Really aware of what's going on. We've got to give him a minute to see how he is, but it doesn't look great. I don't know if Mark's been. I'm not sure if they know.
I don't know if they acknowledge that how hurt he is, because you can he's still a bit wobbly there.
You've got to be careful here for the corner. I don't care how tough he is. I don't care if he wants to fight next week. It's just now they're calling it off. Rightly so. Good corner work there.
Right on cue, Barry. That is exactly the right thing to do.
I've got to say, Darren, I feel sorry for Penn Marksby, because he's not going to know until he watches it back how good a shot he just landed. He should be celebrating like a lunatic here now, because that was a lovely long right hand. That was a really, really fantastic shot. But he doesn't realise it.
No, he doesn't. And if it was landed 15 seconds earlier, then this would have been potentially a KO stoppage, a TKO stoppage.
Well, he got the stoppage. But
yeah, of course he did.
But it would have felt like a genuine jump on the ropes. And I did say at the start of the fight, didn't I, that the maturity, he's got more strength in his work, and he's looked a better fighter now, just from not trying to be too fast with his work, not being too bouncy on his toes.
You did, and you said as well that in previous fights you're starting to see him really kind of sit on his shots a little bit more now. And if he can put that together with his boxing ability, because he's got really good boxing ability.
Yeah, he's naturally good boxing.
He could be in some good fights, can't he? Some really good fights. Some of the names we mentioned earlier on as well. He can be in those domestic showdowns.
All I would say, he's in a really hard division. I mean, nowadays every division's like that. He's in a really hard tough division domestically, that's for sure. But all you want is the chance to prove you're ready to get there, and where he is right now, he's there or thereabouts, I would say. Hopefully we're going to see the right hand now. Just that good body shot there.
Oh, there's that left hook. Landed some good ones.
Yeah, the body shot did the damage there for that knockdown early in the fight, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, the corner of Carlos Daniel Cordoba deems him unable to continue, therefore your winner by TKO victory at the end of the 4th round, Belfast. Ladies and gentlemen, we go live worldwide on DAZN. Coming up at the top of the hour, so make sure that you make some noise and let the fighters know how much you appreciate it. Also, you are witnessing history in the making. This is the first ever MF Pro card that comes your way at the top of the hour here in Belfast at the SSE Arena.
Well done to Ben Marksby. As Barry Jones sat beside me at ringside here in Belfast said, he won't realise how good that shot was until he watches it back. There were plenty like that. Cordoba of Argentina is a tough man, and to make him retire at the end of that round there was exceptional. Some good boxing, did plenty well, and as Barry picked up on so brilliantly, he is sitting on his shots and it is working wonderfully for him. So many great fighters in that super lightweight division. Will we see him in there with the likes of Jack Rafferty, Mark Chamberlain, Luke McCormack and many others? Time will most definitely tell, but one thing we do know is he will be up for it. There's only so many of those kind of away corner fighters.
And you know, he's 14-0 now, so you've got to let him go. Domestically, you've got to let him go. And I mean, with some sort of an eliminator pushing him on, I think that's the right. A 10 round he wants to get something wrong. You want to be doing the rounds. So you can take that, even if you don't do the round, just to train for those rounds. It's a difference, it really is. And I mean, there's so many good, attractive fights for him. And you can be a division which is void of talent and be the best one. That's great. But also, you know, domestic rivalries are a fantastic thing to be involved in. So if he can get his name in that mix, that's fantastic for him. And you know, with his ability, his boxing ability, he's always going to have a chance against anybody.
Absolutely. And those domestic fights, they're the ones which raise your profile.
They do, yeah. The ones we remember, we talk about, are the ones that push you on to bigger and better things.
Well, thanks very much for your company. We hope you enjoyed those prelims, and make sure you join live on DAZN from 7 PM for the rest of the card. Enjoy your evening.
This is the moment the world has been waiting for. The judges are ready, the fighters are ready, the boxing world is ready. The fight starts now!
How do you like it? So aggressive, so focused. It all comes down to this.
Fight Night Prelims live on DAZN.